Ranking directors is hard. You have all these different decades and career lifespans that factor into these people's films. But what if we could just pick out a small window of time and make a list of directors who have consistently been the best since the year 2010? Well, that's exactly what I did in this video, and after spending hours of researching movies and directors, I think I did a pretty good job. So if you guys are interested in that, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Oh, and if you could help me reach 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's get into it. I was able to narrow this list down to 8 people, and before I show you the list, let me remind you I haven't seen every movie ever made. These are just my favorite directors who I've seen all their movies. If anything, let this video and the comment section be a place where we could recommend movies to each other. I also need to note that this doesn't include any director's TV show projects, so someone like David Fincher won't have Mindhunter count for him. But anyway, at number 8 we have Jordan Peele. With only 3 movies released, Get Out, Us, and Nope, some of you may be surprised at this pick, but the quality of these 3 films are some of the best from any director's debut. His most recent movie, Nope, got mixed reviews, but I'm on the side that actually really enjoyed it. I think Peele is one of those directors that I'm most excited about for his next film, which I believe is coming out sometime next year, and I will definitely be in attendance. At number 7 we have Martin Scorsese. With Shutter Island, Hugo, Wolf of Wall Street, Silence, The Irishman, and Killers of the Flower Moon. Now look, I don't care if you'll be mad at this, but Scorsese's last 2 movies were misses, especially Killers of the Flower Moon. It was long, boring, and if it wasn't for amazing performances from Leo, Lily, and De Niro, I would have walked out of the theater. Shutter Island and The Wolf of Wall Street being on this list definitely helps him out, but overall I can't put him higher. He's obviously one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, but I don't think his recent run puts him higher than any others on this list. At number 6 we have Adam McKay, with The Other Guys, Anchorman 2, The Big Short, Vice, and Don't Look Up. This is the sleeper pick of the video. With the range of comedy to drama, McKay would be higher on this list if it wasn't for the dud that Don't Look Up was. But every other movie here was very strong. The Other Guys might be my favorite comedy movie of all time, and something about Vice and The Big Short being historical fictions just make me love those movies. To break into our top 5, we have David Fincher with The Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Gone Girl, Mank, and The Killer. Pretty much every movie here is strong, but the obvious standouts for me are The Social Network and Gone Girl. I also do want to give props to The Killer because although not everyone loved the movie, I thought it was unlike any type of killer story I've seen, in terms of it's incredibly grounded. I think Fincher's deal with Netflix may come back to bite him because I personally don't like when movies don't have full theatrical runs, but it's yet to be seen. For number 4, you knew he was coming, Quentin Tarantino, with only 3 movies being Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If you watch my videos on this channel before, you know my love for Tarantino movies, and call me basic, but many of them are in my top of all time. Django may be his best movie he's ever made. The Hateful Eight I thought was very well written and enjoyable. And although some disagree, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the culmination of his career in one movie, making it one of my favorite casual watches years later. Definitely deserves to be on this list. Number 3 is Damien Chazelle, with Whiplash, La La Land, First Man, and Babylon. Again, with only 4 movies released, you may be surprised at this pick, but I think that just goes to show the quality of films we got from Chazelle. Whiplash is my favorite out of these 4 as I think it's a pretty perfect movie, but I think Babylon is the most underrated. For some reason, I don't think this movie hit as well as his other films for the more broad audience, but I believe any film lover would thoroughly enjoy this movie. If you've seen it, I'm sure you can let me know in the comments that you agree. Number 2 is Christopher Nolan, and man, ranking these last 2 were very tough. Nolan is one of my favorite directors in general, and although I understand that some people don't love his style, I think his writing is unmatched. His movies released from 2010 are Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet, and Oppenheimer. I know people will bring up that Dunkirk wasn't as strong as his others, and I could agree with that, but this channel will not tolerate any Tenet hate. I can't sit here and pretend that I understand everything about that movie because I don't, but I know in my heart that every time I've watched it and continue to watch it, there's more genius there than people realize or even care to see. Regardless of the confusingness, it's still just an entertaining and visceral watch. Again, no Tenet hate will be tolerated in the comment section. As for his other movies here, I may be glazing, but Interstellar is one of the greatest movies ever made, and The Dark Knight Rises was a great ending to the best Batman movies of all time. And Oppenheimer was one of the most enjoyable theater experiences I've had, seeing it in 70mm IMAX. Hate all you want, but Christopher Nolan is the best modern day director, if it wasn't for this number 1 pick. My number 1 is Denis Villeneuve, who has one of the best debuts to a career that I've seen. His movies being Incendies, Prisoners, Enemy, Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049, and the Dune movies. The only one I can say was not as strong as the others for me was Enemy, but the concept was cool enough to keep me engaged, and I know there's probably some deeper meaning in the ending that maybe I just didn't fully grasp. But all of his other films are not just masterclasses in storytelling, they are masterclasses in cinematography, working with some of the best cinematographers like Roger Deakins and some of my favorite like Greg Fraser. I also just want to add that Arrival is one of the best sci-fi movies ever made, and if you haven't seen it, you need to. Here's the final list. I don't think I did too bad with this, but let me know in the comments if this video helped you with any recommendations for movies to watch, and let me know if there's any changes that you guys would make to this list. I'm curious to see if there's anyone I missed out on or any movies that you guys recommend I should watch.